Hey, this is Murtaza Badri, and in this Alive and Fearless Monday, I want to answer questions that parents are struggling with. Basically, my child is hyperactive. We get these questions. My child has ADHD. He's diagnosed with ADHD. My child is disrespectful. My child is aggressive, and my child back answers. If you are a parent who have these questions and are noticing these in your child, then watch this video. I'm going to address why the children are behaving in this way, and quickly 4 steps that parents can immediately take. 1, to kind of reduce these symptoms or eliminate this from your child, and 2, to really understand whether your child is really ADHD, is your child really aggressive, or is it just some other reason or some other condition that is making your child behave in these 5 manners. So quickly, today's generation, I am a father of an 11-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son, and honestly speaking, my children do all of these 5. Sometimes I feel my son is hyperactive, ADHD. I sometimes feel my daughter is going through these aggression or back answering. And most of the times we see that children go through these 5 things. But the problem here is parents are not able to cope with these behaviors. Now the question is, are they normal? Should they be treated? Should they be tagged as, my child is hyperactive? What is being hyperactive? So I'll go through a little background when we talk about 21st century parenting. When I was parented, or any parent who's born in the 70s, 80s, that our life, our lifestyle, our technology, media, everything was very different. The way children used to behave with parents were very different. And today, due to the fact that children have more access to media, internet, videos, movies, games, and it's going so fast that today's child is himself coping with the fast trends in society, at school, in college, with people, relationships around him or her. And when you say the child is hyperactive, my question is, compared to what? So he's a little fast. Yeah, he answers quickly. The children today is absorbing more information than ever before. So they cannot sit in one place, or they are very fidgety, and they cannot have attention span more than a few seconds. A minute is too much, right? If they're not interested in what you're saying, boom, they're gone. And we often get parents saying, I can't speak to my child. I say a few more things and they're like, hey, mom, dad, come to the point, and they just run away. And the first, what I want to address here is, the child is probably not hyperactive. The school system is slow. Parents are slow, because when I communicate with my children and I'm trying to process information and I'm trying to talk to them, they're already like, okay, fine, are you done? Can we go? So can I really term them as hyperactive? Or is it just normal for them? Or am I slow as a father? It's a big question that you have to ask yourself, that the child is coping and running fast with the generation, with the media, with the knowledge that he's been bombarded, and he's really not hyperactive. And then what we do is, when we see the child behaving faster or not focusing the way we used to focus, or not being very calm and cool about things, and he's like, I want to do this, he's just yelling, moving around, running, and very active, we label him as ADHD. We say something is wrong with my child, and then the parents are going to counselors, they're taking the children to doctors, and the doctors are kind of, they have to fit in the child in a particular category, and ADHD is quite, same, it fits in, and they're like, oh, your child is ADHD. And then the parent goes and says, oh, you're ADHD, so you have a problem, and that means you have to be fixed. And then they start, nagging the child, trying to reduce the child's energy, trying to calm the child, and always kind of telling the child, you don't focus, you don't focus, you need to focus, you need to focus, get your attention here, you're going behind. And that leads to disrespect. So the child is really frustrated and like, I am at the pace that I am, I'm enjoying my life, why are you behind my life, and just let me be and give me the freedom. And then he starts disrespecting, back answering, and then you see a lot of aggression in the child. So here for parents, it's very important that letting your child be the way he or she is, or do you really have a concern of slowing the child down and tagging the child in one of these things? And I understand society, when your child is out, society, people, family, relatives, friends are going to say, hey, there's something wrong with your child. So my question to you is whether, the child who is slow has a problem, or the child who is active and fast and moving around and, going around and he's preparing for the 21st century. It's a question that you want to ask. Now the answer to, okay, if my child is behaving normal according to the 21st century, what as a parent should I do? Good answer, good question. The answer is, I'll give you 4 steps here. Step number 1 is you need to accept that these are today's normal. Today's normal. These are what children do. They don't need to be fixed. They don't need to be stopped. They don't need to be tagged as, there's something wrong. So first step is to accept. I know it's challenging, it's difficult. You always want to relate your child to my childhood and what I did in my childhood. And today's kids are really crazy. They're like, yeah, this is today's kids. So once you accept, then comes step number 2 is align. So what do I mean is you have to start thinking like your child. You have to start behaving like your child. You have to start feeling like your child and saying, let me align to the child's aggression, mindset, back answer. So when he gives a back answer, or when she's aggressive, or when there is disrespect, you don't go snap and say, you don't understand, you're disrespectful, and you start yelling, you start hitting, abuse. These are 3 golden rules which I've done a video. If you've not watched it, there's a link in the description below. Please go ahead and watch it. So it's an absolute no if you see these symptoms in your child to yell, nag or hit. You need to align where you have to say, okay, so let me kind of deal with the situation in a more positive, more, make it okay and go with the flow. And if my child is aggressive, so I, kind of be more in his emotion and his energy, and then maneuver your child the way you want. So once you align, you adapt to his behavior. And I'm not saying you start doing aggression, you start, behaving what he's doing, he or she is doing. But when I say adapt, you are adapting to his behavior. So you when the child is aggressive, you don't go slow down and say, I don't appreciate this aggression. You want to even communicate with his tonality, his energy, his or her way, facial expression, hand gestures, movement. And when you kind of adapt and you start acting, that means taking action, appropriate action, a very big thing happens. Your child feels in the zone. Your child feels my parent understands me, my mother, my father understands me. Very important. And when the child thinks that you understand him or her, you can then maneuver the child. You can then suggest, train, educate, and kind of do whatever fixing you want to do. But if you say this is all wrong and you start nagging, yelling, hitting, and you don't accept, you're saying no, something is wrong, and you're not aligning, you're saying no, this is not going to happen, you don't adapt to his mindset, belief, thinking, emotions, and you don't act according to your child's behavior, then you will have serious problems. So I hope in this video, all the parents who are asking us questions regarding my child is, you understand that, it could be 5 to 2% major issues, but I promise you 98%, it is just parents who are struggling to cope with the child's mindset, behavior, and what the child, him or herself, is going through in this 21st century. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please post it below the video. Make sure you're alive and fearless, and you help your child be more alive and fearless. Do not kind of reduce or tame your children because they're getting ready for the 21st century. And I know it's a challenge, it's a gap. I'm, as a father, struggling with the same thing. I'm applying the same principles, kind of observing and helping my child be more alive and fearless. And if you have any friends or family who you know who are struggling, please make sure you share this video. Stay alive, stay fearless. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in the next Alive and Fearless Monday.